It was a cold winter afternoon when my family laughed at my career choice. The sound still rings in my ears like a dull echo, a harsh reminder of the rejection I felt that day. My father, who had always been the patriarch of our family, couldn't hold back his amusement. "You'll never make it in that field," he scoffed. "It's a pipe dream, just a hobby." My mother, who had always supported my siblings in everything they did, shook her head in disbelief. They didn't believe in me, didn't believe I had what it took to succeed in an unconventional career. At that moment, I questioned everything. Why did they think I was making a mistake? What was wrong with pursuing something I was passionate about? But as the years passed, I found my answer not in their words, but in my actions. I've spent years proving them wrong, not for revenge, but because I had to prove something to myself. Today, as I stand in the corner office of the company they once worked for, a company they thought was out of my reach, I know I've earned my place. They didn't believe in me. They mocked my career choice. But now, I'm the one in charge. And yet, there's a question that haunts me. Why does success feel bittersweet when you've been forced to prove your worth to those who should have supported you? Growing up, I was the dreamer. My siblings had clear-cut paths. My older brother was the business prodigy, always the one to follow in our father's footsteps, while my younger sister was the one who always adhered to societal expectations. But I wasn't like them. From a young age, I was fascinated by the idea of carving my own path, one that wasn't dictated by conventional success or society's standards. I had this spark inside me, this drive to do something different. But it wasn't enough to dream. It took everything inside me to pursue it. I remember the first time I shared my ambitions with my parents. I had just completed my first project, a small initiative that I thought was groundbreaking. I was so excited, yet when I told my family about it, their reactions were nothing short of dismissive. My father's face twisted into a grimace. "That's not a real career," he said, as though my future was already written in the stars and I was somehow failing to follow the script. My mother, instead of encouraging me as she did with my siblings, simply remained silent, her disappointment louder than any words could express. "I thought you were smarter than this," she said quietly, almost to herself, as if the words stung her more than they stung me. The betrayal felt like a slap in the face, but I didn't let it show. I had hoped for their understanding, but I didn't get it. Instead, I got rejection, the kind that made me question my own worth. But even in the face of their rejection, I couldn't back down. Their doubts became the fuel for my ambition. Every word, every doubt they voiced became a stepping stone. But that rejection wasn't the only thing that shaped me. It was the moments that followed, when I truly saw what they thought of me. There was no encouragement, no belief, just cold judgment. But it would become the fire that drove me. The years after my decision were a blur of rejection, sleepless nights, and constant questioning. I often asked myself if I was doing the right thing. The emotional turmoil I felt was often overwhelming. The doubt crept in every day. But the more I faced rejection, the more determined I became. I pushed myself harder, worked longer hours, and forced myself to learn new skills. I started small, taking on side projects, building my portfolio one task at a time. The road was tough, but with every small success, I gained confidence. It wasn't about proving them wrong anymore, it was about proving to myself that I was capable. But even as I climbed the ladder of success, there were always those quiet moments of introspection. I often found myself questioning, was this the right choice? Should I have just listened to them and followed a safer path? Then came the moment of clarity. I took on a project that seemed impossible, something that would challenge everything I knew. It was my breaking point and my breakthrough. I poured my heart and soul into it, pushing myself beyond what I thought were my limits. The project became a massive success, and the recognition that followed was life-changing. It wasn't just the financial success that mattered. It was the recognition of my capabilities, of my growth. Through it all, I found mentors, people who believed in me when my own family didn't. I surrounded myself with like-minded individuals who supported my vision. We were a team, and together, we built something incredible. But it wasn't just about the business. It was about proving that with determination, anything was possible. The moment came when I was offered a position at the very company my family had once worked for, the company they thought I would never have a chance at. The offer was a reflection of my journey, my success, and the immense growth I'd experienced. But even as the offer came through, I couldn't shake the feeling of tension. This was the moment of reckoning. This was when everything would come full circle. Walking into the boardroom of that company felt surreal. I had been here before, but this time, I wasn't an outsider. I was now a part of the fabric of its future. My family was there, sitting just like they had years ago, watching me with cautious eyes. Their presence felt like a weight on my shoulders. This wasn't just about business, it was personal. This was the moment I'd been waiting for, to show them what I had become. You made it. My father's voice was a mixture of disbelief and derision. You actually think you belong here? I could feel the years of resentment building in my chest, but I held my ground. I was no longer that unsure, wide-eyed kid who looked to them for approval. I was a leader now. Yes, I said, my voice steady, unwavering. I do belong here, and I've earned it. The silence that followed was thick with tension. My father's face flushed red with anger, but his words faltered. My mother, for once, said nothing. The disappointment in her eyes was more painful than anything she had ever said. But I couldn't let their expectations define me anymore. You didn't believe in me, I said, looking at them both, but I believed in myself. And here I am. The confrontation was raw. My brother, who had always been the peacemaker, stood silently in the corner, caught between his loyalty to family and the reality of what I had become. I didn't need your validation, I said, now feeling the weight of those words. I did this for me, not for you. In the aftermath, things shifted. My parents didn't apologize, nor did they acknowledge the pain they had caused. But there was an undeniable respect in their eyes, a quiet understanding that they couldn't deny. They still didn't fully comprehend my journey, but they couldn't ignore it either. As for me, I had learned something powerful. The road to success is often paved with rejection, but it's our response to it that defines who we become. The pain, the struggle, the loneliness, it all made me stronger. And I realized that my success wasn't just about proving them wrong. It was about proving to myself that I could create my own path, regardless of what anyone else thought. In the quiet moments, as I sat in my office, I reflected on everything I had been through. The rejection, the self-doubt, the emotional wounds, all of it had shaped me. And I realized that sometimes it's not the people who believe in you that matter the most, it's the belief you have in yourself that carries you through. So, I close this chapter of my life with one final thought. Success isn't just about reaching the top. It's about the strength you gain while climbing it, no matter who's there to cheer you on.